Call this beat Will Smith, cause it slaps hard. Hear it not when I pull up on your boulevard.
So check this out, guys. I came across this video called 9 Signs a Girl Likes You but Thinks You're Not Interested. And this video is all about the kind of signals that girls will send to you when they have a high interest in you, or at least in getting to know you, but they're not quite sure if you're on the same playing field. Now, I'm gonna stress this by saying a lot of these signs you're gonna see are passive, and as I've said on the show before, women use passive language because amongst themselves, that's how they typically tend to communicate with each other. And so they do that as a means of being able to, they read into stuff very, very well because they understand that being too direct can be overwhelming. And so a lot of women are afraid that if they just come to you directly and be like, hey, I'm interested, ask me out, that you're gonna be freaked out. And honestly, most guys get freaked out when a woman's too direct. Like, we think we want women that are like, hey, I like you, we should go out extra, but I have found more often than not, it tends to creep guys out. And so women are gonna use a little bit of stealth, and they're also gonna hope to see that you can get the things that they're passing, and that way you'll make the move to be able to go out with her, all right? So let's go ahead and get into this video and see what these 9 signs are.
Today, we're talking about the signs that a girl likes you but thinks you're not interested. This is crucial information that can help you break the stalemate and make your move with confidence. 1. She talks about other people being interested in her. Now, you might hear this and think, okay, she's trying to let me down easy, or she's just not that into me. But hold your horses. This could actually be a clever way for her to gauge your reaction. If she's talking about other guys asking her out or showing interest, she's subtly putting the ball in your court. Think about it. If she didn't care about your opinion, why would she even bring it up? She's essentially giving you a nudge, a little wake-up call to see if you'll step up your game. She wants to know if you're going to be passive, or if this news will ignite a spark of jealousy and hopefully action on your part. So, if she starts dropping hints about other potential suitors, don't automatically assume you're out of the running. It might be her way of encouraging you to make a move.
Now, you might hear that and think, Harry, that is so stupid. Like, if a girl seemingly likes me, why would she talk about other guys and try to make me jealous in order to ask her out? And the answer, my friend, is very simple. It's because that's how they operate. Now, I try to stress to you guys that oftentimes what will happen is the way in which we think about things and the way in which women think about things, both sexes are gonna think that their way of doing things or thinking about things is right. And they're gonna try to then project that onto how the other person is also going to be thinking, feeling, and operating. So in this case, yes, women typically like guys that they know have options. They like the idea that other women also want their guy. And so they're thinking that if they do the same thing, if they let you know that she has other offers on the table, it's gonna also make you think, oh wow, she must be highly desirable, therefore I should go after her. Now, again, it sounds stupid, especially to us men, but I'm pointing this out to you because there are some of you guys that have actually lost out on women because in the course of them talking to you, they'll mention, oh yeah, this guy the other day asked me out on a date, and your thought's like, oh, she's saying that she got asked out by other guys, oh, she must want those other guys, therefore I'm not in the running, and I'm trying to stress to you that sometimes when women say this, they're not aware that that's actually a turnoff for us. They're actually saying it as a means of letting us know that they are available, that if other guys are asking them out, it means because they're doing that because they're on, this woman's currently on the market, and hey, you could have a shot too if you asked her. This is a random true story. I remember years ago, I was at a party, I met this girl, and like, she was sitting on my lap, she was all on top of me, we were hanging out most of the night, but like, I just couldn't muster up the courage to actually kiss her because I was like, I don't know if she wants to get kissed or not. And then one of my friends like randomly came along and like kissed her. This is like in the weird times of me dating, right? So he came along, just randomly just kissed her, and I was like, oh, so she's actually opening me and kissed. That's weird, but does she want to kiss me now? Because she clearly kissed my friend here, so this is probably not gonna happen to me. And then I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna go for it. And then we made out, and then later on that night, we did some other fun stuff. She didn't even think about going back to my friend. My friend wasn't interested in her like that, but it was just the idea that like, oh, she was actually open to that, but she felt as though she had to accept his kiss to show me that, hey, maybe you should be doing this instead, stupid. at that point, I finally got why all this stuff works like that. So again, that's an example of like, in that moment, I finally got it. Like I understood like, oh crap, like her kissing this other dude in a weird way is trying to her way of showing me that she's open to that without direct, like in my friend had more game back then, admittedly. So it's like, I finally got like, oh, like I need to be making these moves first and not be so afraid to make these moves. But the point is this, is that like, yeah, women will do things or say things as a means of trying to show you that they are also desired by other people. And so if you find that she's doing that, you're walking with a girlfriend or female friend of yours and she's like, oh yeah, this other guy, he tried to ask me out and like, he seemed like he really found me attractive. But I just kind of like, he was like, I'm not sure if I'm feeling him. But she told you the story because she wants you to know, hey, I'm desirable, you prick, so please ask me to freak out. Anyway, that's the first one.
2, subtle eye contact. You're hanging out, maybe you're at a party or just grabbing coffee, and you catch her eyes meeting yours. But here's the kicker. She looks away almost immediately. Now you might be thinking, well, maybe she's just shy or not interested. But hold on a second. This quick glance could actually be a sign that she's into you but thinks you're not feeling the same way. See, eye contact is a powerful form of nonverbal communication. When someone's interested, they'll often hold that gaze a little longer, right? But if she thinks you're not into her, she's not going to risk getting caught staring. She's playing it safe, keeping it subtle. So, the next time you catch her eye and she looks away, don't be so quick to dismiss it. It might just be her way of showing interest without putting all her cards on the table.
Yeah, I had this one happen a lot in college where I would go to a party and I would just be, looking for the punch bowl or something. And I'd randomly look up and I'd see a girl like that was seemingly looking at me. I'd catch her for like a split second and she'd look away. And then I would look away to something else and I would kind of like just maybe like 10, 15 seconds later, I would turn back and I'd see her halfway looking at me and then glancing away again. At the time, I didn't know what to make of that. I was just like, maybe it's just a coincidence. Then as I started learning this stuff, I realized, oh, that actually is indicative of a woman that likes me. And even when I first started learning that, it was still like, I just still didn't have the skill set of knowing, okay, great. I know that means she probably is interested, but like, I don't know what to say or how to walk up to her to start a conversation. And I don't want to start a conversation with something that sounds stupid, so what do I do? And then of course, over time, I learned that. And then I put it into the stuff that I do now, including the stuff that I put in my books and my website. But suffice to say that, yeah, women that are like, kind of like, they look at you a bit and they're like they look away real quick. Like more often than not, that means that they're interested, but they don't want to stare at you for too long because it looks creepy. And they don't want to make that first move in the event that they get rejected. Now, I know you're thinking, but I'm a guy and I don't want to get rejected either. Guys, they're putting it on us. Of the two sexes, they feel as though as men, we should be going out into the world and getting what we want and being used to getting rejected in the process of that to eventually get what we want. So if she's doing these little glances, that's her way of saying, hey, a guy, I'm open. And at that point, you got to know to just kind of walk over there and find an excuse to go over there and start a conversation. If you need help with those kind of things, I got tons of videos on my YouTube channel and also go to the website to sign up for coaching.
3, body language cues.
Yep.
You've probably heard that body language can speak volumes, right? Well, in this case, it's like she's whispering instead of shouting. She's around you, her posture is open, maybe her arms are uncrossed and she's facing you more often than not. These are all good signs, but you'll notice she stops short of making any overtly romantic moves. No touchy-feely stuff or invading your personal space. Why is that? Well, she's likely keeping a respectful distance because she's not sure how you'd react. She doesn't want to make the first move and risk getting rejected, especially if she thinks you're not into her. So she's giving you these open but reserved body language cues as a sort of green light for you to make your move.
Yep. So, for example, I used to go to parties back in the day. I had house parties, and also I'd go out to the clubs and stuff. And inevitably, I would notice there'd be a woman that would at some point, like, walk near me. Like, I'd be talking to a friend of mine, and there'd be a woman that would walk near me and then just kind of stand there. And she'd be like, maybe her back's to me, or she's kind of looking in my direction a little bit, but not really. And I'd just see them stand there, like, and at this point, I'm like, I know what this means. On some level, she's interested, and depending on how I felt about how she looked or how she smelled or whatever, I would either decide to find a way at some point to get near that woman one-on-one, or I would just act aloof that I didn't know anything. But that's the benefit when you start to understand and know how to read women is that puts you in charge of whether or not you want to entertain the offers that are coming to you. Because women can tell men who know what they're doing, and they will come towards those men hoping that if her instincts are right, he's going to know the next moves to make. So women are going to have more open body language when they want to like you. They're going to have little shirts on with their cleavage, and depending on how much they like you, they're either going to pull the shirt down a bit or pull it up a bit if they don't want you to see all this stuff. Like, they'll make these overt or subtle moves, but also in some way overt if you know what the moves are, that to them, they're thinking, I'm going to make this move, and he's going to just know that this body movement that I'm making, this body posture that I'm doing is signaling that I want him to come near me. If you aren't able to read those things, I got news for you, guy. You're probably missing out on a lot of women that would have dated you because they were actually giving you an opening, but because you didn't know the opening, they eventually just said, he didn't get it, and then moved on to somebody else, all right? So learn to read women's body language, even the subtle stuff, and you'll get a better idea. It's almost like having like a metal detector. Like you'll have a woman's emotional detector or thinking detector of like, if she walks near me, if she says this thing, if she happens to glance me in a certain way, then I know that she likes me. And it makes understanding the women that like you out there in the world a whole lot easier. So much easier than trying to figure out haphazardly, you know?
4. She's active on your social media. You post a photo or update your status, and there she is, liking your post or even dropping a comment. But you'll notice she's not going over the top with emojis or overly enthusiastic comments. It's more like she's marking her territory in a low-key way. This is her digital footprint on your social life. She wants to be a part of your world, but she's not going to make it look like she's stalking your every move online. Why? Because she's trying to strike that delicate balance between showing interest and not coming off as desperate.
Yep.
Especially if she thinks you're not into her. If she's consistently engaging with your social media but keeps it chill, take it as a sign. She's probably interested and is waiting for you to take the hint and slide into her DMs, or better yet, make plans to hang out in person.
I get a lot of you guys writing me asking about, so we've been texting back and forth, and then she's been on my Instagram, she's been on my Facebook or whatever social media you guys have, and you're like, and she keeps liking my stuff, but like she's not saying anything, or she's not like hitting me up in the DMs, like what does that mean? So even women that are showing you signals that they like you, they still want you as the guy to make the masculine move of coming to them. So what they're basically doing is this. They're setting up scenarios where they are allowing you as the guy to come to them because it's supposed to be your move as the guy to go to them and ask them out, right? And so, yeah, they're going to leave little like the thumbs ups on all your posts, but they may not say anything because they're thinking, well, if I send him this like, if I do it on like 5 of his posts in a row, he's got to know that means that I want him to talk to me, right? He's going to reach into the DMs and say like, hey, thanks for liking my last few posts. Let's meet up sometime, right? And so you got to know that. When you start seeing that, if you start seeing women consistently without you having to prod her, liking your post consistently, it's a good sign that she's probably wanting you to ask her out or at least reach out in the DMs and say, hey, let's meet up sometime and I'd like to get to know you.
5. She's always available but never pushy. You text her and she's quick to reply. You suggest hanging out, and she's almost always up for it. Sounds good, right? But here's where it gets interesting. She never takes the lead in making plans. It's like she's always on standby, but she's not the one pressing the go button. This is a classic move when someone is into you, but isn't sure if the feeling is mutual. She wants to spend time with you, no doubt about it, but she's not going to put herself in a position where she feels like she's chasing you. She's avoiding that awkward conversation where you might say, I think we're spending too much time together, because she's not sure you're as invested as she is. So if she's always around but never the one setting the agenda, don't overlook this. It's likely her way of saying, I'm here, I'm interested, but it's your move.
Yep. And this is another thing I have guys write me about where they're like, hey, like it's been 2 or 3 dates, but I noticed I'm the one that's planning all this stuff. I noticed that I'm the one that's suggesting the dates, but she's never calling me or hitting me up. And my response is always this. When you ask her out on the date, is she saying, yes, she's available? If she is, for those first few dates, that means you're good because she's going to be of the thought of, man, if I just say yes to all his dates, he's got to know I like him, right? Like, I shouldn't have to actively reach out because that's the man's job. And so you can't be dissuaded when you're thinking, it's been 4 dates, she hasn't hit me up specifically for a date yet. Because again, she's just trying to play the feminine role in this whole thing, right? So as long as you're asking her out and she's readily making herself available more often than not, almost all the time, then that's a huge indicator that she likes you. Because women that are kind of in the lower end of interest or losing interest will start making up excuses. Oh, work, oh, busy this, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, women that have high interest, they can have the most packed schedule and say, I got an hour to eat on Thursday at like 9 p.m. if you can make it. Because when women like you, they help you. When they don't, they won't. So yeah, to his point, if they're keeping themselves consistently open and available for your attention, that is a huge sign that she is actually interested, and she's not trying to be overbearing by trying to suggest all these extra things until she starts to get a better read that you really, really like her and want to be with her.
6. Engages with your friends. You've probably noticed she's making an effort to get to know them. Maybe she's striking up conversations at group hangouts or even following them on social media. But what you won't see is her trying to hog all your attention when you're all together. This is a strategic move on her part. By engaging with your friends, she's subtly integrating herself into your life. It's like she's laying down roots in your social circle, making it easier for you to imagine her as a more permanent fixture. But she's also careful not to overstep. She won't cling to you or make it awkward for your friends by monopolizing your time. So, she's making nice with your buddies, but still giving you room to breathe. Take it as a positive sign. She's likely interested in you and is setting the stage for something more, all while waiting for you to catch on and make your move.
Now, the caveat is this, guys, because I stress to you guys, in the first 3 months of dating, you really shouldn't be doing a lot of group hangouts. You shouldn't be meeting her friends. She shouldn't be meeting your friends. You shouldn't be in each other's social circles or meeting each other's families, because you want to really solidify your guys' feelings for each other, and you don't need distractions from that, all right? But at the point where you guys get in a relationship and you start bringing her around friends, really observe how she is around your social circle, because women that have high interest and want to see that they see themselves in your life beyond just boyfriend and girlfriend, yes, they're going to make the moves to try to talk to all your friends, try to be buddy-buddy with them, get to know your female friends, your guy friends, so she can have people to call when it's like your birthday or some kind of celebration. And yeah, she's going to be, she'll be the kind of girl you can take to a party. You can go talk to your buddies over here, and she'll be totally fine talking to other people, because she's trying to do that as a way of saying, hey, I also fit in this circle. I don't always need you around to do that, but I'm going to make sure that your friends realize what a great woman I am also, so that way they'll also have a positive image of me. So that's all good stuff.
7. Asks about your love life in a friendly way. You'll find that she's curious but keeps it on the down low. She might casually ask if you're seeing anyone or what your ideal type is, but she frames it like she's just shooting the breeze. This is her way of gathering intel without setting off any alarms.
Sneaky.
She wants to know where she stands, but she doesn't want to make it look like she's prying or coming on too strong. It's a delicate balancing act. She's trying to figure out if you're available and what you're looking for, all while keeping the conversation light enough to avoid any awkwardness. She's asking about your love life, but making it sound like casual chit-chat. Don't brush it off. She's likely fishing for information to gauge whether it's worth taking the next step, all while waiting for you to show some reciprocal interest.
Yep. So picture this, guys, right? You're talking to a girl and she's just like, so tell me about what's been going on with you. Like, how's your family going? Are you dating anybody right now? Like, how's school going? Just throwing it in there. Like, you're not going to catch it. It's going to be, she's making it sound like the most normal conversation ever. Oh yeah, my family's going good. My love life, still put myself out there, but I've been on a few dates here and there, but nothing really serious right now, and school's going whatever. And you're thinking, guys have the problem of, because we take things literally, we assume that the thing that she's asking because she wants a literal answer, and that's all she wants. When women ask you questions like this, like they said, they're fishing for information. They want to know if you're seeing anybody else, if you have any higher prospects than others, and they're doing that because they're trying to gauge it based on what your answer is, if there would be any potential room for you to have interest in her and take her out. And so this is why they'll phrase it like, hey, so tell me about this, that. You're thinking it could be like a long-time woman friend of yours or a woman that you just met for the first time. So tell me about your whatever. And you're thinking it's whatever. But I'm telling you, women ask questions to do a deep dive on what you're telling them to see what they can get out of it. So women that are highly interested, yeah, they're going to ask you things like, well, tell me about your dating life, or are you seeing any other girls right now? And you're thinking they're asking it in a friendship tone. They're not. They're doing that because what they're hoping you're going to say is like, I'm not seeing anybody, like, I'm just kind of free, whatever, but, maybe me and you could do something sometime. And most guys don't have the boldness to actually do that. But if you're the guy that can build up that boldness within you, then you'd be surprised at the girls you're able to get now just by asking that simple question back.
She talks about hypothetical romantic scenarios. Ever find yourselves talking about love and relationships, but in a way that's totally hypothetical? Like she might ask what you'd do on a dream date or how you'd know if you found the one. It's all very general, nothing pointed or direct. This is a clever tactic on her part. She's essentially doing some reconnaissance, trying to figure out your romantic inclinations without putting herself on the line. It's like she's window shopping for insights into your love life, without committing to any direct questions that might expose her feelings. When she steers the conversation toward these hypothetical romantic situations, pay attention. She's not just making idle conversation. More likely, she's trying to get a read on your romantic views, all while giving you room to share your feelings, if you're up for it, that is.
All right, so what lesson can we get from the last two segments of this thing, right? Is that when women ask you questions, they are typically not looking for surface responses. Like, it's great if you give a surface response, but they're going to always read 2 to 3 times lower in layers and levels rather than you could possibly think. So when they're saying, hey, so hypothetically, like, what kind of what would be like your perfect date? You're thinking, she just asked me a legit question, so she just wants a little answer. Oh, my perfect date would be X, Y, and Z. No, she's trying to figure out your likes, your interests. If she can possibly get you on that kind of date, would you go out with her? Like, these are the things that women are always looking for when they ask you these, what we consider to be surface questions. So just know, anytime women ask you questions, look below the surface because there's probably more there than you realize, all right?
9. She seems disappointed when you talk about other women.
Oh.
You mention a female friend, a coworker, or even someone you find attractive, and suddenly the vibe changes. Maybe she seems a bit deflated or quickly steers the conversation in another direction. This is a subtle but telling moment. She's showing a flicker of disappointment because, deep down, she wishes you were talking about her in that way. She's not going to make a scene or get visibly jealous. That would be too revealing.
Yep.
Instead, she opts for a more subdued reaction, enough to signal her feelings, but not so much that it puts her in a vulnerable position. If you notice her mood shifts when you bring up other women, don't ignore it. It's a nuanced way of her saying, hey, what about me? Without actually uttering the words. She's likely hoping you'll pick up on this cue and redirect your attention her way.
This is why, guys, that you really gotta be more in tune with the way women operate, because they're gonna have reactions based on how they feel about things. And if you're able to know what that looks like, then they will give themselves away. If she asks you, so like, have you been on any dates lately? And you're like, well, actually, I had a date last week with this girl and I took her to this place called the Fire Grill and blah, 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 blah. And then she goes to like, oh, the Fire Grill, I love the Fire Grill. I've always wanted to go there. Hey, speaking of Fire Grill, like, have you blah, blah, blah? Notice she's steering the conversation. What she's saying is, I don't want to keep talking about this, girls. Let's move on to something else. Or if you say, oh yeah, I took so-and-so to like the Fire Grill last week. And she's like, oh, that's nice. And she kind of like, eyes kind of roll this way and it's like, whatever. Like, that's what subtly saying, this is making me uncomfortable because I really like you. But most guys are so used to like sticking to surface stuff and not trying to go deep because we're just like, we just want us to have everything that's on a surface level. We don't want to have to think that things need to be read deeply or that what she's saying actually means another thing based on how she's feeling. Like, we don't want to do the work of that because it stresses us out. I'm telling you, once you're able to start reading subtle cues and start knowing how women react to things and why they do and this stuff, then you'll find when women do these things, you'll know how to react. So for example, same example, she asked, have I been on any dates lately? I took this one girl the other night to this place called the Fire Grill. And she's like, oh, the Fire Grill, yes, that's nice. I would just be like, yeah, it was a good time and all, and it was okay, but I'm still putting myself out there and trying to, see what else is what's what. Hey, why don't me and you sometime go to like this restaurant over here? This is that. Oh my God, you want to go with me? I mean, I guess if you want to. That's the kind of game women are playing. And that's the kind of game that to them, it's not a game. Again, these are all subtle signs because in these moments, she's not knowing if you like her. And it's not that you need to express that you like her in these moments, but she's not knowing if she has a shot at being able to get to know you on a level deep enough to eventually be something. So when women are showing you these subtle signs, this is just how they communicate, guys. They can be passive in their language. They can be a little bit in the realm of like not wanting to give all their cards out because that's too direct for them to do to feel comfortable with. But if you can read this stuff and know it, then you'll know that she's showing you subtle signs because she does like you, and you'll know in that next breath what moves to make that could lead this towards you getting with her in some capacity, if that is in fact something you want to do. But knowing this stuff puts you in control of all that.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class